Hello, my name is Wildstag, and thank you for tuning in to another book rant. Today, I'm going to be covering this book, 12 Blades in Contempt, Book 1 of the Epic of Aiya, written by Jorden Darrett. The About the Author on the back cover says that Jorden Darrett is a admirer of human sociology and culture. Upon attaining his associate's degree in English and starting school at University of North Texas, he decided to become a professional freelance writer. 12 Blades in Contempt is his first novel. It's a new book. He advertised it on some subreddit that I subscribe to. I checked it out. I wanted to see what this book was about because it has a cool cover, and I just wanted to take a gamble. There's a page with a map of the empire this book takes place in. It's a pretty small map. I'll show you right now. It doesn't really provide much detail, or really any detail, but it does say that a second book, A Reign of Heavenly Fire, could be expected October 29th, 2022. It's currently November 2nd when I'm recording this, so that second book is already out. I have not read it, but I did finish the first book, 12 Blades in Contempt, last night while working. My first impression is that it's a weird setting. The main character, named Aiya, A-I-Y-A, is a state assassin, effectively. Aiya and two others are picked from the cradle from nobility within a province and are adopted into the household of the ruler of that province. They are trained for assassination, for combat, for espionage, that kind of thing, and are imbued with divine power from the god that represents that province. She comes from the river province, and so she is imbued with the powers related to that god. And I say god, but it's not really, how do they explain it? The deities weren't gods, as gods didn't exist. At least, not in the way most thought of them. The deities made up the remnants of beings of the natural world, great and mysterious reserves of power attainable if one took the time to seek them out through meditation. Of course, this was a secret reserved for only a select few of noble blood. Having finished this book, it's good, but it's not great. There are parts of the story that I felt just dragged on. The main character, Aiya, just takes a passive seat through the middle third of the book, and in the very end she has something to do, but it doesn't flow in the right way. The first part of the book she has something to do. The middle third of the book she's taken hostage. Aiya is given a yes or no situation. If she said no, she'd just be held prisoner for an extended period of time. And if she said yes, then she would be given her freedom to help out this cause. And that's not really a choice. If she is to have her freedom, she has to sign on with this cause that she has been taken hostage by. So it has to appeal to her, but then it also has to be something she believes is attainable. In this case, it's a revolution. The people of the agriculture province are trying to win their freedom from the sorceress empress that rules the empire. The middle third, though, involves a march to war where Aiya doesn't really have anything to do except go along from point A to point B. And once at point B, there's nothing for her to do because she's there as an observer. She's not there as an active participant in that war. I'd almost say it slips into the third part of the book as well, where she just doesn't have something to do. until she is explicitly told, go protect this person. She goes out there to protect him, and that's when 3 other state assassins show up. These state assassins, the title is Ginju, I believe, Ginju, and they're effectively, like I said earlier, super soldiers imbued with that divine power from the god that represents that province. So now on her side there are 2 people from River Province and 3 Ginju from Agriculture Province, and they are up against 3 Ginju from Rain Province. It is a fight that goes poorly, but it goes. It progresses the story. But it's not a very satisfying progression. The armies of the person she is sent to defend are basically wiped out. He conscripts about 2,000 people to defend his last bastion, and then the Empress shows up to use her sorcery to convert someone into a dragon, and then sick that dragon on the 2,000 conscripts, expecting them to break rank. And then she turns around with her armies and the sitting lord of the Forgery province, forgery in this case being like metalcraft. I spent much of the book not realizing or not connecting 2 and 2 of Forgery province is a weapon supplier with they process metals. I kept on thinking, oh, their Ginju are going to have something to do with disguise and that kind of thing, because forgery, when I think of that word, I think of someone forging a note, a letter, or something like that. So I was expecting a certain twist that didn't really come because the words chosen for the characters just didn't seem right. The upstart lord Aiya is defending in the 3rd part of the book is one of the 2 remaining heirs to the provincial seat of Forgery. So he is involved in a civil war with his sister, who is propped up by her mother, their mother. The book has this twisting political revolution plot that really forces a low point at the end of the first book, which it does say book 1 of the Epic of a Geisha. I don't know if it's meant to be 2, 3, 4 books, however many, but usually that low point is associated with the middle book in a trilogy or the middle part of a story. You don't start a series with that low point. You want there to be a big victory at the end, one that can, rally people behind their cause rather than make them defeated and hopeless right off the bat. Additionally, there's a couple editing errors that made it seem like this should really have gone through another round of editors. At one point, Aiya's name is spelled Aiya, A-Y-A-Y. There's some, I want to say 3 instances in the first part of the book, the first couple chapters, where a sentence just does not read well. There's a mixture of tenses or a repeating of the word there or the, something like that. And even in the end, in the acknowledgments section, the second to last sentence of content in this book states, "Their mere fact of seeing a man like him write such great works and accomplish his dreams while doing it was such a huge inspiration to me." The intent would have been the word "the" instead of "their," but that's one of those things that would be noticed in editing, or ideally would be noticed in editing. So this book, for the most part, no grammatical errors, no misspellings of names, but there are a couple, and it stood out to me while reading this book that, hey, this could have used another pass. But overall, like I said, it's a good book. It's not a great book. I'm not sure I'll go back to it. I may put this into the used book circuit. I'll probably buy book 2 just to see if the story has improved. But right now, I'm not hopeful. I am cautious regarding this book. I don't recall off the top of my head how much money I spent on it, but there were a couple errors. The story just drags for a good portion of it, and then it ends with a low point at the first book of the series. It's kind of a low point, I guess. There's something to celebrate, but it seems like she's left hopeless and not hopeful, which usually that's the kind of feeling you would want at the end of a first book of a fantasy series, or even any fictional series, is a high enough high that you feel hopeful for your endeavors in the future books. Anyway, that's my thoughts on 12 Blades and Contempt. I'd encourage you to check it out. Maybe you'd like this more than I did, but I'm not entirely optimistic. My name is Wildstag, and thank you for tuning in to another Book Rant.